farmers' protests in Punjab has now actually become a fight within the state, with the Punjab Chief Minister Capt Amrinder Singh asking the farmers to take their protest somewhere else. Talking about huge economic losses to the state because these farmers have been sitting on dharna for so long, the Punjab Chief Minister has now asked them to go outside and protest. Now, this is extremely interesting. It's a U-turn, a very different, starkly different stance being taken by the Punjab Chief Minister when it comes to protesting farmers. For all this while, they have been backing the farmers on this protest. But now Capt Amrinder says hold dharnas in Haryana and in Delhi. But the farmers who are protesting in Punjab across 103 sites are adversely affecting the state's economy. So go and mount pressure on the centre from Delhi or from Haryana. But because of your dharnas in Punjab, grain storage and procurement is getting badly affected. Obviously, he came under fire for trying to divide the farmers and say, go to Haryana or Delhi and don't protest in Punjab. He said, I'm not trying to divide the farmers, but we are suffering because of this protest. Now, if you actually see, over the past 1 year since these farmers' protests actually gained momentum, and the farmers gathered in large groups to sit on dharna right from various parts in Punjab up to the Delhi borders, and then it spread to UP and Haryana. Capt Amrinder has actually been backing the farmers. He's been opposing the farm laws to the point that he brought in their own set of legislations in the Punjab Assembly to counter the centre's 3 farm laws. To the point that he said we'll give legal support to any farmer who faces an FIR, to the point that he opposed the NIA's notice to some of the farmers to say this is politics and this isn't right, you shouldn't treat our farmers like this. Now the same Chief Minister is asking them to take their issue somewhere else, to take it in the house of BJP specifically, and not create problems for him. How are we supposed to read this? What is going on? Has he abandoned the farmers and their issue now in the run-up to the elections? Is this some kind of, again, internal Congress power play? Because let me tell you this. Capt Amrinder's comments are coming at a time where Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi have again raised the farmers' issue and are attending farmers' protests, escalating it in Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. The Gandhi backer, Bhupesh Baghel, Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, has come out and said, well, we will welcome the farmers who want to come and protest. This is an issue that's been taken up by the Gandhis. What's going on in Punjab then? Let's find out. We say good evening to Raman Malik of the BJP. Sujata Paul, political analyst, joins me this evening. Jasbir Singh Bhatti, President for Rashtriya Kisan Sangathan. Vipin Pabbi, senior journalist. And Sameer Jain, General Secretary for the Confederation of All India Traders in Punjab. CAIT has actually also come up with a set of numbers of the kind of losses that they're looking at. But before we look into that, let me actually go across to Mr. Vipin Pabbi and understand what's pressurizing Capt Amrinder to tell the farmers to go elsewhere.
Captain Amrinder Singh doesn't say anything off the cuff. It's a very well thought of message which is meant both for the Congress and for the BJP. And what I would like to add that today he has reiterated that. So it wasn't just a slip of tongue or something. It's a deliberate message that he has come out with. And there have been rumor mill going on for several months that he was little warming up towards BJP, not joining the BJP or anything, but warming up towards them, and also sending a signal to Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi. As you rightly mentioned, they are now trying to, come in open support of farmers, while he has been, very much sidelined in Punjab. Not only sidelined, he has been actually humiliated the way the new Congress chief was appointed in Punjab. And even after his appointment, there have been, he has been, there are so many humiliations heaped on him, whether it is on stage or otherwise. Openly, MLAs and ministers demanding something from him. So I think it is time that he is now trying to give back a bit. He's not that he's a pakka congressman. He had been an Akali for a long time. He had left Congress also in between again. So it's not that he will just stick on to it and take all the humiliation lying down. I think he's sending out clear messages to the Congress High Command as well as to BJP.
Very interesting what you say there, Sujata Paul, because this seems like another big backlash that the Congress party will have to deal with for all the decisions the leadership has taken in the past that haven't been in favor of Captain Amrinder.
I don't think that's going to happen, Tanvi, because he's at a stage where he had, if you remember, he had said that this is going to be my last election. But coming to the main issue over here, what is happening is that definitely, I think Captain Amrinder Singh also wants the pressure on the government, because the government seems to be sitting quietly on this issue and not talking to the farmers at all, because they've said, oh, we spoke to them, we've spoken a lot to them, and we've had many rounds, and there has been this breaking of communication completely. So if you look at it, 600 farmers have died, the prime minister has said a word, he has called them parasites and whatnot. So I think it is right that the farmers should be protesting where they are going to be visible also. So what Mr. Anil Vij in fact said was that, oh, he's trying to shift them here. Well, isn't Haryana a part of the country, and isn't Haryana supporting the BJP? Isn't there a BJP government over there? So I think the farmers really do need to be where the government feels the pinch. So I think that is also one of the reasons, and definitely the state will suffer as long as there are protests happening. And why should a government which is supporting the farmers do it? You know, you've already mentioned about the laws that they came up with, countering these particular laws, which still wait the assent of the president. So as far as Captain Amrinder Singh is concerned, I do understand that he does want a solution, and what you said is absolutely correct, that everybody is really affected by it, everybody is upset by it, and there is a solution. What is the central government doing when
No,
the
but
central
how
government
is this any different then from what the BJP has been saying all this while, or those opposing the farmers have been saying, send them home, vacate the premises from the Delhi borders, vacate the premises from all the dharna that's happening outside the mini secretariat in Haryana. If you understand their cause, if you stand with their cause, you allow them to decide how they're going to protest, as long as it's peaceful. How can you start now dictating terms for a apolitical movement unless it's all now a Congress conspiracy? The farmers' protest was actually designed by you.
If it is apolitical, rightfully he's telling them that there is no reason why you should be here. If it was political, he wouldn't be saying that.
They are farmers of Punjab. Why should they not protest in their own home state?
No, but he is supporting them, and everybody is supporting them because they are part of this country. And the opposition always needs to support issues of the people. And the government is the one, the central government is the one which is brought in.
Tanvi,
Need to look at this.
What does Ms. Paul understand about farming?
What do you mean? What do I understand about farming? I think I'm a citizen of this country, sir, and I do understand the plight of the farmers.
Madam,
and
right now you're sounding as a Congress spokesperson, not defending the.
Okay, 1 minute. So let's, Raman Malik, I know you're itching to jump in and you would have much to say, but allow her 30 more seconds to finish her point. Yes, Sujata Paul, finish your point.
Trying to say is that the government in Delhi is just sitting put, and you saw what happened in Haryana, the way they were lathi charged, the way the government has had to come to onto the back foot now after the protest that the government that the farmers did over there. So the government in Delhi needs to find a solution. We all want a solution. What is the central government doing? Don't the farmers need to be sent home after a solution has been found, or are the farmers going to sit put till 2024?
Well,
is that what Mr. Modi
wants? I will ask Raman Malik to respond to that in just 30 seconds. But there are only two ways that I see this playing out, Sujata Paul. either Captain Amrinder is more interested in the fight that he is having currently with the Gandhis in a fight for control, for supremacy in Punjab in the light of the coming elections, and this is his way of sending across a message to the Congress and the BJP, like Vipin Pabi said. And it doesn't matter if that means, offending the farmers for a bit, turning away them for a bit, or he really doesn't believe in this cause, unlike what he claimed, and now he's telling them, take your protest elsewhere, I don't care, I am more interested in other businesses in this state. That's the only two ways about it, and I think the sooner the Congress party realizes, the better it's going to be for them. But since you've raised a question and made it about the BJP, let's ask Raman Malik to respond.
First of all, Tanvi, I seriously was having a second thought that it was not a political analyst, but somebody from the Congress speaking from heart. But I then read it was a political analyst, so I respect her views for whatever they are. Having said that, one should not forget that 31st of October 2017, Mr. Amrinder Singh, the Captain Amrinder Singh, the Chief Minister of Punjab, was having a discussion on telecom, health and agriculture policies with Mr. Mukesh Ambani. So ये जो अदानी अंबानी की सरकार कहने वाले मिलान वाले बाबा हैं, he should first read and understand what facts are. Second, MPs after MPs, MLA after MLAs, Netas after Netas, State President Mr. Jhakhar, and now the CM has said in the last 8-9 months consecutively, regularly, that this is a protest that we are orchestrating, we are supporting, we are giving them all kind of supports. Not to forget, Mr. Bittu himself said that in this protest that we had organized, some Khalistanis have entered, and that is where the Khalistani word came in on the first thing. Also, not to forget, 5 years, the contract farming laws, which have a provision of 5 years of imprisonment for the farmer, have not been changed in Punjab. And there are various other things. My friend here, the political analyst, was talking about back foot in Karnal. No, ma'am. The first day, the same offer was given, and the so-called farmers, who are actually remote control bots running around, had refused it. Then, after realizing that nothing would happen of those sorts what they are demanding and it cannot be fulfilled, they agreed to it because they had other orders which had come in. Now, understand what Mr. Amrinder Singh has said and what actually is happening. Various tapes after tapes, various videos have come in where drugs, alcohol, prostitution are an integral part of this.
Mr. Raman Malik, what does that have to do with the conversation we are having right now? Your sole point agenda of simply just maligning the entire issue is not my agenda, and I will not allow you to do this here. Kindly stick to the debating point right now.
I am sticking to the debating point, and let me prove my
that has
point
nothing to do with these random videos that you keep talking about. I am not going to allow that conversation here, Mr. Malik.
Okay,
let's please stick to the point of Captain Amrinder and Congress's stand to this. This debate is not about the merits of farm laws, neither is it about the merits of the farmers' movement.
I am proving my point, ma'am. Just wait. The whole point is that this particular statement has been totally made for political motive. This entire protest for the last 9 months was a child for political intention, which has gone rogue. And now it is difficult for them to take control of it. Also, it is a direct attack on the economy of Haryana by a sitting constitutionally elected chief minister. I need to understand who is going to pay for the losses of various businesses. Businesses in various places have so much losses that the manufacturers, the factory owners have to actually start selling shoes on the road. Where and who is going to fulfill it?
Okay, let me now take that point across, and I am going to now go across to Jasbir Singh Bhatti. Mr. Bhatti, thank you for joining us. दो सवाल आपसे। पहला तो आपका क्या ये रिस्पॉन्स है जो पंजाब के चीफ मिनिस्टर कह रहे हैं कि कहीं और जाके प्रोटेस्ट कर लीजिए किसी भी बीजेपी की सरकार के सामने, यहाँ मत करिए, हमें बड़ा नुकसान हो रहा है, बाकी लोगों का नुकसान ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है, आपका प्रोटेस्ट नहीं। भट्टी जी शायद आप म्यूट पे हैं, आवाज़ नहीं आ रही मुझे। आपको अनम्यूट करना होगा वहां से। Okay, let us try and figure that out, and I will go back to him. Meanwhile, let me bring in Sameer Jain. Yes, Sameer, go ahead, please.
Actually, the GDP of the Punjab is almost 6 lakh crores. And from last 1.5 years, we are suffering a lot due to lockdowns and all COVID problems. The problems major have been due to these blockages and rail roko. Our export shipments were delayed. Perishable goods movements were hampered. And on the day when the dharnas are organized, sales staff movement is hampered, total sales is affected, and deliveries are delayed. Some important meetings we have to attend, those are missed, flights are missed, a lot of chaos is here. And I think Captain Amrinder Singh, he has sent some message of frustration that we have done everything for the farmers. Now it's you, please go and knock on the doors of BJP governments and BJP at Delhi or in other state. And we have nothing to do with this. That is the message I think he wants to give. But the trade has affected a lot in the last 1.5 years in Punjab.
Can you give us some specifics, Sameer? Can you give us specifics of, what trade gets impacted? And obviously, nationally, it's a huge problem because of repeated lockdowns and shutdowns and COVID restrictions. But specific to these protests which are happening
Also,
at
please
100
ask him,
different locations. Sameer.
Approximately
Tanvi, please ask him
GDP
one more
of the
thing.
Punjab.
1 minute,
about the
Raman
loss
Malik.
of
Allow me
people
to
in
please
Haryana?
ask my questions first. I will take your question in just a bit. Yes, Sameer Jain.
Approximately GDP of the Punjab is approximately 50,000 crores per month. And one dharna, one blockage, one stoppage affects lot. And when there was rail roko going on, I am also General Secretary for Punjab Pradesh Vyapar Mandal. We talked with several organizations of farmers that we are not the sufferers, you are also the sufferers. If you are blocking the rails, our 7,000 crores goods were stuck at the ports. And we clearly told them we're not able to pick your paddy anymore because our shipments are not going. And we had round of talks with them. We were able to convince them, and they were convinced, and they gradually they were removed from the railways. They allowed the rails to move the traffic, and our shipments were going. But I think there is some lack of central government is not able to convince them on their points, and it's a lot of frustration mode is going on, and we are the really sufferers, and we have been suffering from last 1.5 years. And Captain Amrinder Singh, he's clearly he's seeing the graph how the business is coming down.
Okay, so that's the business aspect, and that's the reason. That's the reason even Captain Amrinder has given about huge economic losses that has finally now become a concern for him, something that otherwise was being highlighted now for several months. But let me go across to Mr. Bhatti. Mr. Bhatti, yes, अब शायद हमें आपकी आवाज आ रही है।
जी, आ रही आवाज?
जी, हाँ जी।
हाँ जी, नमस्कार सभी को। सबसे बड़ा जो आपने मेरे सवाल किया, मैं कैप्टन अमरिंदर से बताए, भाई पंजाब के वासी या पाकिस्तान के वासी आके पंजाब में धरना प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं। अगर किसान पंजाब का वासी है तो पंजाब में धरना प्रदर्शन करना राइट है या नहीं है? तो राइट ही है, और वो प्रदर्शन अपना पंजाब में करेगा। इसमें जो अगर भुलेखा है कोई, उसके मन में भी अगर वहम है तो वो निकाल दे, और नहीं तो वो सीएम हरियाणा से पूछ ले हरियाणा क्या हालात हैं, कहीं धरना प्रदर्शन करते जब उन्होंने की कोशिश की है। अब बीजेपी और सीएम सभी इनके कारोबार जो जहां इनके प्रोग्राम होते हैं रोके गए हैं किसानों द्वारा। कहीं हेलीकॉप्टर नहीं उतरने, कहीं बोलने नहीं रोक, ये कैप्टन के साथ और कैप्टन सरकार के साथ होगी। ये अलग से बात ना करे। धरना प्रदर्शन करना हमारा राइट है, हक लेना है। किसानों के हालात इतने बदतर दिए हैं, किसान समय पे बहुत ही दुख तकलीफ में है। पिछले 7 साल से 4 गुना महंगाई चुकी है, इसके रेट 4 बढ़ चुके हैं। और फसल का रेट, क्रॉप का रेट हमने गलत क्या मांगा है? सरकार ने जो वादे किए थे, सेंट्रल सरकार ने वो भूल गई ना, और कानून थोप दी। हमारा हम उन कानूनों के खिलाफ लड़ाई है, और फसल के लिए हमारी नस्ल और फसल के लिए लड़ाई है, फसल के रेट के लिए लड़ाई है। वो प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं, जहां जरूरत है पे बैठे हैं। दिल्ली के बॉर्डर जरूरत है, दिल्ली के बॉर्डर पे बैठे हैं। अगर पंजाब में की जरूरत होगी पंजाब में, हमें जरूरत होगी में, राजस्थान का राजस्थान में बैठेगा, ये बैठेगा और डर प्रदर्शन रहेगा जब तक इनके हक नहीं मिलते। ये लड़ाई
तो
जारी
भट्टी जी लेकिन उनका कहना जो है, और जो यहाँ समीर जैन बैठे हैं वो भी यही कह रहे हैं कि आपके इन प्रदर्शन की वजह से, आपके इस धरने की वजह से व्यापारियों का हजारों करोड़ों का नुकसान हो रहा है, उसका ब्लेम कौन लेगा?
हम किसी का एक पैसे का नुकसान नहीं कर रहे। सभी रास्ते खुले हैं, किसी दुकान के कोई बंद नहीं है, किसी दुकान का नुकसान नहीं किया गया, किसी फैक्ट्री का कोई नुकसान नहीं किया गया। सब हमारे साथ खड़े हैं। सरकार की तरफ से कोई नुमाइंदा बैठ के करे वो अलग बात है, सरकार कोई बात बना के करे। सारे के सारे जो लोग हमारे साथ खड़े हैं। रास्ते बंद करने की बात हो तो सरकार रात खोल दे, हमने तो दिल्ली जाना है। बंद तो सेंट्रल सरकार ने किया है, हमने तो कुछ बंद नहीं किया, रोड जाम नहीं किया। दिल्ली जाओ रुका है, बंद नहीं किया हमने कहीं पे, किसी किसान ने कोई नहीं किया, कहीं कोई रोने लगा ना। बंद करने में मिलता है, क्यों करेंगे? क्यों बंद की? दिखाओ कोई चीज बंद की है। अगर बसें रोकेंगे, सड़कें रोकेंगे तो उनमें किसको तकलीफ होगी? हमारे को तकलीफ होगी। हम कुछ बंद किया हमने? फैक्ट्रियां क्या प्राइवेट इदारे क्या बंद करने थे? सरकारी इदारों में नहीं बंद कराया हमने
जी। ओके, दो लोगों से मुझे इस पे जवाब चाहिए जो आप कह रहे हैं। एक तो समीर जैन से, देन रमन मलिक। लेकिन समीर जैन पहले, क्योंकि यहाँ पे किसानों के लीडर कह रहे हैं कि हमने तो किसी का कुछ रोका ही नहीं।
एक्चुअली क्या है कि आई वांट टू से it's your right to protest, but you have some duties also towards the nation, and that we expect. You should allow the movement of trucks.
तो वो तो यही कह रहे हैं समीर कि ट्रक्स को तो हमने कभी रोका ही नहीं, रास्ते हमने नहीं बंद किए, वो तो पुलिस आके करके चली गई या कोई और बंद कर दे।
This is not true. Everybody knows when there was rail roko in Punjab, all the goods trains were halted, fertilizers were not coming, and export shipments were held up.
Correct.
And everyone knows that on the Dharna day, all the roads are blocked. Even it is blocked by the farmers or by the police. But a common man is a sufferer. It's your right to protest, and you must convince the government, and government must come across the table and talk with you and justify your point. But the common man is a sufferer. Trade is a sufferer. Punjab is suffering from last 1.5 years, and that issue must be resolved. And I think Captain Amrinder has rightly, maybe from some frustration point or whatever, maybe he has said, please go on and knock the doors of central government or BJP governments. I have nothing to do with it. So we want that Punjab should revamp. Punjab should come, because we have seen a lot of lockdowns and we have suffered a lot. And now we cannot bear anymore. Our graphs are going down. Our GDP is going down. We have to come back.
Okay, yes, Raman Malik wanted to make a point.
Ma'am, there are various things. भट्टी साहब आप समझ पाए, इसलिए मैं हिंदी और पंजाबी मिक्स में बोलता हूं ताकि आप समझ पाए। टोल प्लाजा बंद करने का अधिकार आपका नहीं है। संविधान आपको वो अधिकार नहीं देता कि आप टोल प्लाजा बंद कर दें। वो आप राष्ट्र की धरोहर और राष्ट्र के टैक्स पेयर का नुकसान कर रहे हैं। दूसरी चीज, अगर किसान अन्नदाता है तो जो कर देता है वो करदाता है। अगर करदाता आपसे ना माल खरीदे और वो कर ना दे तो आपको सब्सिडियां नहीं मिलेंगी, आपको किसान सम्मान निधि नहीं मिलेगी, आपको बीजों के ऊपर रियायत और आपको आपकी जो उर्वरक हैं उनके ऊपर रियायत नहीं मिलेगी। एक और चीज, राइट टू पीसफुल प्रोटेस्ट आपका संवैधानिक अधिकार है, बिल्कुल है, लेकिन दंगा करना, लठ बजाना, पत्थर फेंकना या तलवारें, भाले, बरसे लेके लाल किले पे जाना, ये आपका संवैधानिक अधिकार नहीं है। एक और चीज भट्टी साहब, मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूं कि आज 4 साल बाद पंजाब को, ये हरियाणा के भाजपा के अध्यक्ष थे जिन्होंने बार बार गुहार लगाई कि पंजाब के गन्ना किसान का 400 करोड़ का हर साल का नुकसान है, तब आप लोगों ने प्रेशर में आके पंजाब में गए। लेकिन मैं आज पूछना चाहता हूं, राजस्थान का 1 करोड़ एकड़ में बाजरा लगता है, उस बाजरे की कीमत 1000 रुपए से लेकर 1100 रुपए में खरीदी जाती है, जबकि 2250 का रेट आ गया है। आप जाएंगे क्या राजस्थान और बोलेंगे कि 10,000 करोड़ का हर साल का जो नुकसान हो रहा है किसान का, पिछले साल का ही सही, वो दे दो। 90,000 करोड़ का फार्म ऋण जो प्रॉमिस करा था अरविंदर सरकार ने, आप उसमें कुछ नहीं करा पाए। 20-25 हजार करोड़ का मैक्सिमम हुआ है। आप इस तरीके की बातें ना करें। आप सबसे पहले ये करें कि आपको सरकार ने ये बोला है संशोधन के लिए हम आज भी तैयार हैं। आपके नेता भी बोलते हैं संशोधन करने तैयार हैं, लेकिन बड़े नेता करने नहीं देते। तो मैं आज भी आपको खुले मन से बोल रहा हूं, संशोधन की लिस्ट बनाइए और वो लिस्ट लेकर बेशक कैप्टन साहब को, मनोहर लाल जी को, दोनों को बिठा लीजिए, दोनों के साथ बैठ के बात करिए, वो जाके प्रधानमंत्री से बात करें और ये जो स्यापा आपने डाला हुआ है इसको खत्म करिए।
वो तो कब से कह रहे हैं कि केंद्रीय सरकार के मंत्री हमसे मिल ले, कोई मिलने का कोई आ ही नहीं रहा है। देयर इज नो मूवमेंट हैपनिंग ऑन दिस, मिस्टर Raman Malik. It's very nice for everybody to come and say on media that we are open for talks. Zero movement has happened from the government's end to initiate any kinds of talks in the last 6 months.
Just be asking for amendments.
1 minute, please.
They are asking for repungement.
Yes, so that's what their demand is. Jasbir Singh Bhatti. Jasbir Singh, you've already decided it's wrong. Then why are you telling them to go and have conversation? जी भट्टी साहब,
पहला सवाल किया था मलिक साहब ने, पहला सवाल किया था रोड पे जो नाके हैं आपका रोकने का कोई अधिकार नहीं है। रोड सरकार की कहाँ है? रोड अडानी अबानी को भी बेच चुकी है सरकार। किस रोड की बात करते हो आप? अरे सारा बेच, अब क्या उसका नुकसान ना, अडानी अबानी को हम लूटने नहीं, इसको आप किसी भी तरीके से बचाने की कोशिश करो। हम देश बचाने के भी लिए लड़े हैं, अपनी नस्ल और फसल बनाने के भी लड़ रहे हैं। इसलिए सवाल का जवाब दिए। दूसरा सवाल आपने फिर किया, गन्ना, आपने गन्ना बाजरे का, गन्ना बात सुनने का मन रखिए, बात सुनने का दिल रखिए। पहले चुप करके सुना आपके सवाल का जवाब, उसके बाद ज्यादा नहीं बोल। सर मैं आपके सवालों का जवाब दे रहा हूँ, सुनिए, ध्यान से सुनिए। आपने बात और गन्ने का सवाल उठाया। हम देश के हर हित के लिए लड़ रहे हैं, उनके एक के लिए नहीं लड़ रहे। किसान जो दिल्ली के बॉर्डरों पे भूख प्यासा बैठा है, यहाँ कार किसी की कोई सोच नहीं दी रखी, वो क्यों लड़ रहा है? किसके लिए लड़ रहा है? वो लड़ रहा है देश के जो अदारे बेचे जा रहे हैं, सड़कें बेचे जा रही है, रेलें बेच रही है, वो बेचे जा रहे हैं, स्टैंड बेचे जा रहे हैं, हर चीज को बेच जा रहा है। कहाँ ले जा रहे हैं? 30 नंबर पे आपने जो बाजरे की बात की, भाई जी बात सुनिए, आप बाजरे करने की बात।
Mr. Raman Malik, please allow him to finish. Please show some respect for our panelists. Allow others to finish. Can I just hear Mr. Bhatti, please?
आपको फसल खरीद गति कानून नहीं है क्या? उसमें बात नहीं है क्या? उसमें गन्ना नहीं है क्या? उसमें मूंग नहीं, क्या उसमें उड़द नहीं, क्या उसमें सोयाबीन नहीं, क्या में दालें नहीं, क्या उसमें मस्टर्ड ऑयल नहीं? कौन सी फसल है नहीं? 23 की फसलों का सरकार दिया, 60 फसलों पे दो MSP और MSP खरीदो। तीसरी बात मैं आपको बोलता हूँ, किसान के लिए MSP क्यों है? मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस मतलब क्या है? किसान को क्यों नहीं उसका हक मिल, क्यों नहीं फसल का पूरा रेट मिलता? अगर वो रेट किसान को मिलता तो हमें धरने प्रदर्शन करने की जरूरत नहीं, बैठने की जरूरत नहीं। फसल का रेट हमारा खत्म किया, फसल का रेट सोच समझ के कम दिया है। कम से कम मतलब क्यों, एक छोटी से छोटी फैक्ट्री वाला एमआरपी से अपनी प्रोडक्ट बेचता है और किसान अपना प्रोडक्ट एमएसपी पे बेचे, ये कहाँ का रूल है भाई?
ठीक है, जो आप बोल रहे हैं भट्टी साहब, वो पहला जो फार्म लॉज के मेरिट्स का डिबेट है वो तो चलता ही रहेगा जब तक सरकार और किसान आमने सामने बैठ के, केंद्रीय सरकार और किसान बात ना कर पाए। लेकिन आपने एक दूसरी बात कही जो मुझे विपिन पबी के पास ले जानी है और उनसे रिएक्शन लेना। मिस्टर पबी, द रिस्पॉन्स फ्रॉम द फार्मर्स इज दैट डोंट प्रोवोक अस, you will face the same fate as Haryana is. We will start. We will. जी, जो आपने बोला ये बात कि कैप्टन अमरिंदर अगर इस तरीके से हमें कहेंगे और बाहर जाने को बोलेंगे, तो जो हरियाणा में जिस तरीके से प्रदर्शन हो रहा है, जहाँ पे बीजेपी के नेताओं और चीफ मिनिस्टर के सामने जाके आप प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं, वो हाल पंजाब में भी होगा। विपिन पब्बी, ये क्या यही कैप्टन अमरिंदर दिमाग में रख के उन्होंने ये कमेंट्स कहे हैं कि ये बड़ी प्रॉब्लम कांग्रेस के लिए हो सकती है इलेक्शन सीजन में?
ये इकोनॉमिक का क्वेश्चन नहीं है। अगर ये होता तो एक साल से ऐसा हालत चल रही है। इनफैक्ट लास्ट अक्टूबर में पंजाब में सारा कुछ ये शुरू हुआ था। बट इट इज दिस मोमेंट दैट कैप्टन अमरिंदर सिंह हैज चोजन टू स्पीक लाइक दिस। आई मस्ट पुट इट इनटू पर्सपेक्टिव दैट ओनली लास्ट वीक और जस्ट अबाउट 4-5 days ago, Navjot Sidhu, the Congress Punjab president, had gone and met the farmers. He and some of his members of the leaders of Congress, they had gone and met the farmers, and after coming back from that meeting, he had given a kind of a memorandum to the chief minister saying this is what is the farmers' demand. So this chief minister's statement is just after that note which Captain Amrinder Singh was given by Navjot Sidhu. So it is not an economic matter, although economy is important and it is being affected, no doubt. But this particular step which Captain Amrinder Singh has taken is more politically motivated rather than anything to do with economy.
Okay, thank you for putting that in perspective. Completely out of time. I'm going to thank all of the panelists for joining me on this conversation. This is what we need to keep in mind, viewers. There is lots of political thinking that has gone behind a very, very seasoned politician's comment on the farmers' protest. Captain Amrinder, twice now, having said the same thing about farmers needing to take their protest elsewhere, isn't necessarily just talking to the farmers with this comment. The big question is, are those who are supposed to get his message, are they going to understand and react? And will this strategy now actually bring in the political benefits that Captain Amrinder is wishing for, or will it simply end up harming the Congress party a lot more, as everything else that the party leadership has done in the last few months has ended up doing in the state of Punjab? Unfortunately, it is the farmers who've ended up becoming yet again a political tool, this time for the Congress party, for their own benefit and own motives. Because if it had anything to do with economic losses, Chief Minister would have spoken much, much earlier. Rail Roko, the issue of Rail Roko ended months ago. Isn't even a problem of 2021. That argument really doesn't stand or hold any value. There are nuances and political nuances to this. Let's see what happens next. Thank you for joining us.